Cross stitch is a popular hand embroidery technique, and the Hatch Cross Stitch Gem provides tools to reproduce the look with your embroidery machine. If you've ever hand stitched a complex cross stitch chart, you may know that these patterns can have many more colors than the standard embroidery designs. Also with hand cross stitch designs, you may have isolated areas of small colors or even just a single stitch of one color. This can translate to more trims in a machine stitch cross stitch design. Because Hatch Cross Stitch is designed to replicate the look of traditional hand cross stitch, you'll find the stitch types are different from the main Hatch program. When you select and use the cross stitches, they're created on a matrix of squares, and the stitches automatically snap to the grid. You'll hear these squares referred to as pixels. Let's get started by looking at the stitch choices. Like Hatch, we have a choice of outlines and fills. I have fill selected, and I'll right-click on the stitch that's selected, and we'll get our stitch palette. This first block uses the full cross. This is what we normally think of with cross stitch. And there you can see one stitch. This is our 3/4 cross. You can get different patterns with this depending on where you place the short stitch and how you arrange those stitches. Here is the half cross, and you can get interesting patterns with it as well. Here is the quarter cross. You can have different colors for each part of that stitch. This is the mini cross. It takes up 1/4 of a square. You can place them in any corner, and you can have multiples in the same square. In this sample, I have 4 mini crosses, and they can be different colors. Here we have the upright cross. It just looks like a plus sign. The double cross is like a full cross combined with an upright cross. Here we have the elongated vertical, and it goes on one side. So it's the full height, but only half the width. And it can go on either side, and you can put 2 of them in one square. Here's the same stitch, just rotated. It's the elongated horizontal. And the last one is the French knot. Now, obviously, we do French knots differently on a machine than we do by hand. So these are good for eyes, small dots here and there, or if you're dotting an I or a J. Now, all of these stitches can be used as either a border or a fill. You can also combine them with each other to make a variety of interesting patterns and effects. Do keep in mind that isolated stitches can incur a lot of tie stitches and trims. For borders, I'll click on the border icon. I have my choice of single line or current cross. Now if I click current cross, it's going to use whatever is selected over here, which is full cross. So I could change that to one of the other stitch types. Here's my little heart without a border. Here it is with just a straight line border. Here's the same heart, but I've just angled off to make it look more curved instead of stair-steppy. And on this one, instead of a straight line, I've used the full cross border. Now that you've seen the type of stitches that can be created in Hatch Cross Stitch, in the next lesson, we'll cover some essentials before we begin digitizing.